This is Joe News Prime with me, from your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. I am Samuel Kojo Brace. Our lead stories this hour. Electoral Commission suggests moving date for both presidential and parliamentary elections from December 7 to November 7. Now, 35 trade unions, including NAT, NAGRAT, Ghana Medical Association, trade up in arms against government over the imposition of value-added tax on some categories of power consumers. Africa must stop behaving like a drunken master. These are the words of South Africa's Julius Malema as he advocates unity and blames corruption for Ghana's return to the IMF for bailout. Now, the Electoral Commission is proposing a shift in the date for both the presidential and parliamentary elections from December 7 to November 7. The chairperson of the commission, Jane Adukwe-Mensah, further advocated for election days to be designated as national holidays. Now, these proposals were presented during the Inter-Party Advisory Committee IPAC meeting held on Monday, January 22, 2024. The Electoral Commission has put forth these suggestions to stimulate discussions on potential improvements to the electoral process. According to the Commission, declaring election days as national holidays could encourage an increased civic engagement, fostering a more robust democratic culture. The initial proposal to change the election date came from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. In a petition to the Electoral Commission and the Attorney General, the Church expressed that the current date, falling on a Saturday this year, conflict with the Sabbath, a holiday dedicated to the worship of God. The Church is recommending the adoption of the first or second Tuesday of November as a new date for Ghana's general election, seeking codification to ensure Adventist freedom to worship. Now, head of our political desk here joining us, Evans Mensah, joins me in studio with more. Evans, run us through the reforms. We know that this is part of some reforms that the Electoral Commission wants to put together and get the parties to agree. What are these reforms you're talking about?
So you touched on two there. The one that we are now talking about, which is moving the December 7 date to an earlier date, sometime in November. Now, the key question around that is, do you fix it on November 7 if you're moving it back, or do you say you put it on a day? Now, the proposal is put it on a day. So say the first Monday of November, but the thinking is around a day. Now, the original proposal dates back to 2015 when the Electoral Commission put together a committee and they brought forth a host of proposals. That proposal, though, talks about November 7. So that's what is being considered now. Then the question then becomes, okay, if it's November 7, that date obviously becomes very fluid from election year to election year. Fix it on the day instead and make that day a holiday, which is what you've talked about. But then there are other proposals. Some of them they've already implemented over the time. Some they haven't. One that they have, and we know that became very controversial, is a continuous voter registration exercise, which was part of the proposals in 2015. That has been implemented. And then also getting the polling agents, but also the Electoral Commission officers who supervise the elections on the election day to swear an oath before a magistrate before they participate was another one that was put forth at the time. So there were a whole host of them that now the Electoral Commission has decided, with of course just over 10 months to go, to put before the parties for consideration.
Now, we know this was this came up at the IPAC meeting. What are we picking from that particular meeting?
There was another proposal, though, which is that hold elections in terms of the time frame for the day between 7 and 3 p.m. Instead of 5 p.m. And the challenge with 5 p.m. has always been in areas where once it's 5 p.m., you still have people in the queue. You have electricity challenges, so people are queuing in the dark. That obviously creates a very toxic situation for violence to happen, for some nefarious activities to happen, and then people then begin to take advantage of that. So bring it back a bit, 2 hours to 3, and so you vote between that window of 7 to 3. Even if you are in the queue, at least you have an hour before night falls for the EC officials to tabulate. At this particular IPAC meeting, this latest one I talked about wasn't pitched. It was a tool that you mentioned earlier. Now, according to the Electoral Commission Deputy Chairperson, Bosman Asari, who spoke to us on Newsnight a short while ago, there was unanimous acceptance of the proposal to have the elections in November this year, and also to declare that day a holiday. So there was unanimous acceptance of this because the parties themselves had agreed to put forth these proposals in 2015. So that's his view there. Now, we haven't heard from the parties yet, but that's the Electoral Commission's view on the matter. Often when you hear the Electoral Commission from IPAC meetings and then you hear the political parties, you begin to find that they're a bit more nuanced than just say they accepted it. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Now, another important thing about the IPAC meeting was that the NDC was present. And as you know, the NDC has had this, there was a divorce between the NDC and the Electoral Commission as far as IPAC was concerned, and it's been so for quite a while. Yeah. That has been fixed now. They appeared at the IPAC meeting. Bosman Asari says it was their first day back was pretty cordial, and the rest of the IPAC asked them to return. Okay. And if it was unanimous, these two proposals was unanimous, it presupposes that the NDC would have accepted these two proposals also, but it would be good to hear from them.
But we know that the proposal by the Seventh-day Adventist was looking for a day, not a date.
Yes.
Now, 7th, as you said earlier, is fluid, so it could fall on another Saturday at any point in time. I mean, is the Electoral Commission considering a way to cure that, really?
Well, the Electoral Commission Deputy Chair is very emphatic that this proposal they put before IPAC now had nothing to do with the Seventh-day Adventists. Now, the Seventh-day Adventists knew about the 2015 proposal that had been made, and they knew that that particular 7 November proposal coincided with their own interest. So what they did was to include that to the Electoral Commission, say, you yourselves had put together this proposal back then, and so we're just encouraging you to implement your own proposals. And it just so happens that a week after they had, put forth this to the Electoral Commission, to the AG, and to Parliament, EC calls an IPAC meeting. So it's a coincidence that has, of course, created this, very interesting scenario where we are linking the two. But the Electoral Commission is clear that it had nothing to do with it. You remember that last week, they actually also went to the Electoral Commission, met them, and presented a hard copy proposal to them. Prior to that, from what we understand, they met the EC before and put this before them. To be clear, as far as the date is concerned, moving it back is something that there appears to be consensus around. Okay. Right? From what we're seeing from the 2015 proposals, the question really becomes, how do you get it done? It's been proposed before, it never quite worked, right? Because you have to go to Parliament and then challenges begin to emerge. That's the next hurdle. Yeah. And I spoke to Bosman Asari, who's the Deputy Chair. He says they're ready, based on the confidence they've received from the parties today, that they're confident when they made the proposals to the House. It is not an entrenched clause, but it's in the Constitution. They need to amend that. They will need a significant number of the House, more than 2/3 of the House, or 2/3 at the minimum, to have it passed. Which that's the hurdle, but he's confident they can do that within the time frame that they have.
Interesting. Let's see how that goes. Thank you very much. Evans Mensah is the head of our political desk here. Joining us now. Janet Asana Nabla is the General Secretary of the People's National Convention, and she joins us via Zoom here. Grateful for joining us, Janet. Now, IPAC, Electoral Commission is proposing a change in the date of elections. What's your reaction to this as a party?
Let me greet you this evening and your viewers. It's true that Electoral Commission brought a proposal yesterday, and they were two. One had to do with the change of, one had to do with the election holiday. We're getting a day for election to be a holiday. And the second one had to also do with shifting our elections from December to November. These were the two issues that the Electoral Commission brought forth at the IPAC meeting. Apart from these two, even though there were some other minor things that went around, like the indelible ink, Electoral Commission told us that they are a listening body and they have heard the complaint of Ghanaians, and it doesn't cost much to add the indelible ink to it. So we shouldn't worry. They've listened to our cry, and then they will do something about it. But coming back to the two proposals that were made, it's true that all the political parties were happy that we'll be able to get a holiday, because Electoral Commission is whereby when elections are organized and it is a holiday, the turnout is usually very huge as compared to when it is not a holiday. So all the political parties were happy about this. The second one had to do with the election date being shifting backwards. And we're happy about that one too, because anytime we have something like what is it called? Anytime we go for elections and then there is a runoff, then difficulties, they have only 21 days to be able to prepare to conduct the next election. And that usually causes a lot of errors on their part. Okay. Yesterday, someone was telling them that, but you've been doing it. And they said, we've been going through hell. We are Electoral Commission and we've been going through hell. So we actually want it to be shifted backwards so that we can get ample time to be able to do the right thing so that there will be no any skirmishes. So with that, all the political parties actually were so happy. But the problem was how it can be done, because there are a lot of things that issues surrounding it. And Electoral Commission will have to go through all these issues to get what they want, what we want. And it is not going to be easy. Okay. So MPP, they had a problem with the timing because they are thinking that they will not be able to get those things done within this short period, because 6 months into elections, the parliament will just go on break. So they were asking, but Electoral Commission assured all of us that they have everything at their fingertips and they can do it. We should just trust them. Okay. So we were meant to go back to our various political parties to tell them what happened at IPAC, and then the party's decision will be conveyed to Electoral Commission so that they can start work. And that is what we are doing as political parties.
Okay, so as we speak, there's no sort of consensus on this proposal, right? You are now consulting.
Yes, Electoral Commission have asked us to come and to consult our parties and then get the decision back to them. So that is what we are doing. All
right. Janet, I'm grateful for joining us here on the Joy News Prime. Now, away from that, government has 7 days to fully erase its planned imposition of 15% value-added tax on electricity consumption or face a nationwide showdown from organized labor. Now, in his directive to the Electricity Company of Ghana, the Ghana Revenue Authority and other government agencies, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta gave strict directives for all power consumers above lifeline level to pay the new levy, which forms part of government's COVID-19 recovery program. But even before the policy is rolled out, the Trades Union Congress is up in arms against government, saying that TUC members will not pay VAT on electricity.
Union leaders preparing to give a showdown to government. The Trades Union Congress, the umbrella body for all labor associations in Ghana, say they are unhappy about government's latest decision to impose a 15% value-added tax on energy consumers above lifeline levels. The Trades Union Congress says many of their members who are already overburdened with taxes will be slapped with additional charges after the imposition of this new levy. Dr. Anthony Yauban is Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress.
It is worth noting that 30 kilowatts hour of electricity allows the lifeline customers to use only 3 LED bulbs, one electric iron, 1 television, and 1 fan. And I want to emphasize that this 30 kilowatts hour thing, lifeline, it was 50 since the early 90s. Then in 2022, PURC changed it from 50 to 30. They did it quietly. We note that since 2022, electricity tariffs have gone up by 73%. So in 2021, if you were paying 100 Ghana cedis, now that same customer is paying 173 Ghana cedis.
But there's a caution to government, a threat of labor unrest if government fails to totally reverse the policy.
So today, organized labor, we have come together again, and our message to government is very simple. We cannot pay VAT on electricity, period. We will not pay it today, we will not pay it tomorrow. So we are giving government up to 31st January 2024 to withdraw the letter. If by that time the Minister for Finance has not given the directive to ECG and NEDCO to stop the implementation of VAT on residential customers, we will advise ourselves.
Solidarity forever for the union.
Organized labor is up in arms against government, asking it to reverse the controversial 15% imposed on power consumers above lifeline level. A crunch meeting has just concluded here at the TEC Hall in Accra with a strong message to government to reverse the policy by the end of January or face thereof of the organized labor.
We are not ready to pay this VAT. It is not about reduction. It is not about negotiating it down. It is just wrong. And government should withdraw it wholly. That's all.
And that is why we have come together as organized labor, and we are calling on government to just remove that decision. If we don't get it, we'll continue to communicate on our platforms, and the next actions that we need to take, we will take them.
We are going all out, and I have indicated before in previous interviews during the DDEP that we are ready to grant this country and start afresh. We are ready to do that. We have sacrificed enough. We have sacrificed enough.
Leather Sogan reporting for Joy News, TEC Hall, Accra.
Meanwhile, the Electricity Company of Ghana says it is yet to commence the implementation of the value-added tax on EMAC to consumers. Now, the company says it will need further clarification from the Ghana Revenue Authority on how it proceeds with its implementation of the levy. Leila Abubakari is External Communications Manager for ECG.
So the value-added tax announcement that came into effect in January has appalled a lot of our customers. The truth of the matter is that we haven't started implementing it, even though that letter says that it should have been activated in January. The reason being, we still have to understand how to implement this tax. So we are having active conversations with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ghana Revenue Authority, and with other stakeholders who have also brought their concerns forward. So for now, there's no value-added tax as announced included in residential tariff or residential customers buying electricity. For now, it's still the old status quo. When you buy, there's no VAT added to residential customers buying bills.
So are you equally engaging stakeholders to perhaps resolve some of inter-stakeholder challenges that may be affecting power supply across the country?
We've maintained an active engagement with our stakeholders, who mostly comprise of the power generators, to have them on the same page with us in terms of payments. I think since last year, our revenue generation has increased, and we found a way of ring fencing or having an agreement with the IPPs to hold on to the legacy debts that we owe them. But we are very up to date with the current bills that come to our desk. We try as much as possible to pay off those debts so that they can also function as businesses. And for any other issues that might be within, yes, usually we have engagements with all the stakeholders that are in.
Then your final comment on the VAT.
Now, despite the agitations that have met this new tax, Minister for Finance Ken Oforiatta says that the 15% VAT on residential electricity consumers will not burden the citizens, insisting that Ghanaians will be all right.
The governor was clear to you that it's not going to be inflationary, but more important, we have all sorts of tax reliefs that you don't want to talk about, and with regards to the taxes on electricity, that was some time ago, and it doesn't affect, sort of the lifeline tax people. And so I think we should be all right. The emissions tax, as you know, is really 100 cedis a year. That's what we are praying about. I think we'll be okay.
In a new twist of events, the Trade Union Congress Ghana is questioning why the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has advanced work on its policy to remove value-added tax on multinational mining companies operating in Ghana. The group argues that a pledge was made by Sector Minister Samuel Abu Jinapor to the Ghana Chamber of Mines that the charges will be removed by close of the first quarter of this year. TUC says these resource-rich companies ought to be the ones paying more taxes, including VAT, on electricity.
It is also important and very, very sad, comrades, very, very sad to note that why government is imposing VAT on us, residential customers of electricity. Plans are far advanced to remove VAT on mineral exploration in Ghana for wealthy multinational mining companies. And the media reports that we have read indicate that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, in a meeting with Ghana Chamber of Mines, assured them, Abu Jinabo, assured them that that policy will be implemented in the first quarter of 2024. What kind of life is this? What kind of you impose tariffs on poor consumers of electricity, and then the wealthy multinationals, you are going to remove it. And he met them and assured them that by the end of this quarter, they are going to remove VAT from exploration for these rich companies. I mean, so what kind of country are we living in? Normally, in situations like what we have in Ghana today, when our economy is misbehaving and so on, what happens normally is that our mineral resources, because those of you who have studied economics, minerals, gold and the rest, they are anti-cyclical. So if you have checked, when economies go down, people invest in gold. So if you have gold and there is a problem and your economy is going down, you use the gold to prop it up. That's why they were trying this oil for gold, whatever they are calling it. In a situation like this, that's what we expect. When there are shocks, both internal and external, you use your mineral resources because this is God-given. You use it to deal with the shocks, to cushion your economy from this external and internal shock. But in Ghana, sadly, that is not the case. It's always the poor people in this country, including pensioners, who bear the brunt. And we should not allow that to continue.
Now we've been joined by Benjamin Ayi, advisor on mining at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. He is arguing that this decision to exempt mining companies from paying VAT is a right decision to boost the mining industry in Ghana. He joins us via Zoom now. Grateful for joining us. Now, help us understand this policy proposal better. Why this policy? Kindly unmute, sir, so we can hear what you're telling us. Hello, Ms. Ayi. If you are with me, kindly unmute so we can hear what you're saying. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, then. Thank you very much, and good evening to you and to your cherished viewers and listeners. Thank you so much that you brought this matter on board. Essentially, if you look at mining, there are two parts of mining. The exploration, that is to say, finding the mineral, and the mining or exploitation, which is to take the mineral out for use. I believe that all entities which reside in our jurisdiction ought to pay taxes to support our economy, and mining companies have been doing this over the years. Okay. However, there are companies which are just into exploration, that is finding the mineral. These companies spend on finding the mineral, not on making any money. They don't come up with any mineral to sell at all. So they make no revenue at all, zero revenue. They just incur costs in an attempt to find the mineral. And once they find it, then they can bring it to the table for governments and that entity to discuss how the benefits will be shared. That is when one would expect that taxes will be paid, etc.
Okay.
So what the minister said essentially was that that first wing of mining activities, exploration, which just entails costs, no revenues at all, which we have been taxing, that is in respect of VAT, on all the expenditure that such companies make, they pay VAT. And there are some key ones which he made reference to. Notable among these is what we call drilling. Drilling to find out what the resource subsurface, below the surface is. And then having picked samples, you take these samples to laboratories to analyze, to tell you whether the mineral exists at all or not, etc. That is assaying. So these are two key exploration activities which over the years we have been taxing. Industry has made representation to government. Government has reviewed it over the years. The challenge is that in attempting to address this, getting VAT off these to enable them spend only on finding the mineral resources, there have been complications which government is looking at.
Okay.
So the minister was basically assuring them that government realizes that all they are doing is spending money, not making any money.
Okay.
Spending money to find the resource.
And that's why government wants to do this.
It's unfair to levy VAT.
Okay. So what does the government intend to achieve with such a policy? Because your ordinary citizens are being taxed more, and you're asking multinationals not to pay. What's the intent of government?
Let me just correct the impression that multinationals we are going to exempt. Okay. If you look at the list of license holders, the exploration companies, the large majority are Ghanaian companies. Ghanaians who are spending whatever monies they have to try to find minerals. Typically, it's once they get to an advanced stage and they don't have the resources to continue, that they bring in other investors, foreigners, etc. So the target would be significantly Ghanaian companies.
Okay.
Of course, it's not targeted at just Ghanaian companies, but all investors into exploration.
Okay.
So let's emphasize that it's not the mining end. The mining end, nobody is arguing for that because, like all economic activities, they generate revenues.
Okay.
So the VAT they incur can be written off against the revenues.
Okay.
But these have no revenues to write off against.
Okay.
So that's the context. And
okay.
The key reason for this is if we don't carry out exploration, then we will not find resources which can be mined, and our mining sector will grind to a halt.
Okay, all right.
So you'd find that because of
Messiah, I think that
exploration has gone up.
Messiah, I think the point is well made that you are doing this to encourage more companies to come and join the mining industry in this country. So I'm grateful to you for joining us tonight. So that's the mining advisor at the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources. To other stories, the strike by Senior Staff Association and Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU, started biting hard as some lecture halls have been closed, forcing classes of some first-year students to either be cancelled or moved online. Library opening hours have also been reduced, with the striking groups vowing not to return to work until their demands are met. My colleague Kenneth Jesse has more.
The striking groups continued their demands for better working conditions and payment of their Tier 2 pensions. The Legon branch of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU, and the Senior Staff Association say they will soon close all lecture halls of the university, which will affect students currently writing exams.
All the kids, they are not kids, students of University of Ghana. Yes, their parents, wherever that they work, they also have a condition of service. If something is going on wrong there, definitely they will also lay their tools. This is my working environment. I hold a condition of service. This is what is supposed to be done. There are managers in place. If the managers are tampering with the condition of service, we will draw our services. And that is it. No exams will go on. All the examination halls will be locked up. All the necessary tools that will be used for the examination will be locked up. Yes.
But some lecture halls have already been shut down, forcing classes of some first-year students either be cancelled or moved online. Here's a student who spoke to us in camera.
For the lecture halls, some are working currently and most of them have also been closed. So for instance, there's a lecture hall at JQB that they have lectures there. Some have been closed and some are working. The level 100, for instance, I talked to a lady who is level 100 who I asked whether she went to class yesterday, and she informed me that when she went to class, they were told that the class has been cancelled purposely because of the strike. We are having a congregation for exam. We are a congregation for graduation. And some were going for their gowns, and they were told that the driver to bring the gowns is on strike. The driver to bring the gowns is on strike. So I just imagine. So sad things in there, just something that you just have to just ignore and just accept the fact.
The striking groups would later have a standoff with the police, leading to one of them being arrested. The striking groups say they remain resolute in their demands and will use all legal means to ensure their concerns are addressed.
TEWU of Ghana has served the government a 7-day ultimatum to implement their negotiated conditions of service, else members will be forced to join other striking workers in public universities. Now, they are also joining other groups to demand payment of Tier 2 pension contribution arrears and restoration of 50% overtime allowances. According to TEWU Ghana, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission have unilaterally written to management of public universities to pay only 10% of their overtime allowances, which is unacceptable. Emmanuel Bright Kweku was on the KNUST campus and has filed his report.
The past days have seen a number of workers in Ghana's tertiary education institutions lay down their tools in demand for better service conditions. The latest group threatening to join the striking workforce in public universities is the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana, TEWU-GH. The group says it will embark on an indefinite strike if the government fails to implement their negotiated service conditions. Charles Arthur is the KNUST chairman of the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana.
We have given government a 7-day ultimatum which will expire 30th January, and then first we'll begin our industrial strike. What we are saying is that we cannot compromise on condition of service matter, because condition of service is an agreement, it's a contractual agreement, and once we have agreed with the government, we cannot disagree again. That has been the usage and practices in the labor front. We have also gone to the Labour Commission, and Labour Commission has directed that whatever provision in the conditions of service, no employer, none of the parties, i.e. the employer and employee or workers, none of them can sit and then amend it, except the two. We have realized and noticed that fair wages on one hand, and then GTEC on the other hand.
This is still the Joy News Prime here on the Joy News channel. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, controversial South African politician Julius Malema is blaming corruption for Ghana's recourse to the International Monetary Fund for a bailout, stating that the country's democracy is currently under threat from corruption. Speaking during an event dubbed A Dialogue with Julius Malema, organized by pressure group Arise Ghana, the founder of the Economic Freedom Fighter said corruption continues to be the bane of many African countries. The IMF board approved a first review of Ghana's loan program on Friday, allowing for the immediate disbursement of about $600 million under its $3 billion bailout program.
The democracy of Ghana is threatened by corruption, a corruption that made sure that Ghana does not pay its international debt. As a result, today, Ghana is unable to self-determine because everything else is dictated to Ghana by IMF and the World Bank, because the current leadership failed to honor their obligation. Corruption is a threat to a wonderful democracy anyway, because it's eating on the moral fiber of democratic dispensation. We must never ever celebrate anyone who is corrupt or seek to defend the corrupt individuals, irrespective of our political affiliation. Those who are stealing from the public purse now they are stealing from the future. That's why they are unable to pay the debt now, and they will not be able to pay the debt in future. And it is you, the youth of Africa, that are going to inherit the debt, and you will not be able to develop your own countries.
He has also been making a strong case for media freedom. Malema argues that regardless of how poorly journalists may perform their duties, media freedom must be safeguarded to prevent misgovernance.
Hence, we must make sure that we refuse the suppression of media freedom, because without media freedom, we are nothing. If there is anyone who can tell the world of any wrongdoing in Ghana and in South Africa and everywhere else, is the fourth estate. It must be protected. It doesn't matter how bad they write about you. You must protect their right to write.
He says African leaders must learn to leave when their tenures are over.
We call on all African leaders not to leave an office with a coffin. When the time comes for them to go, they must leave without calling the army to extend their term. No one is...
Assam constituencies in the Ashanti region are expected to witness an intense contest in Saturday's parliamentary primaries of the New Patriotic Party. Over 120 candidates in the region will battle for slots in 41 constituencies where the party has majority incumbent members of parliament seeking re-election. Ahead of the primaries, Nabla Yadon put a spotlight on Adanse, Asokwa, Bekwai and Mensha North constituencies.
The New Patriotic Party's parliamentary primaries will be held across 41 constituencies in the Ashanti region. This includes constituencies with incumbent MPs facing stiff opposition in their quest to seek re-election, and constituencies where the MPs are retiring from parliament. At the Mensha North constituency, the incumbent member of parliament, Akwasi Kunedu, who has served one term in parliament, is facing a tough contest against former MP Collins Osu Amankwa and two others. Akwasi Kunedu says he's unfazed by the contest.
There is nothing like complacency in this game. Once there is a ballot, yes, I am going in full force as I did. And currently, you can see the constituency is united behind me. They would want me to continue with the work that I've started. And I'm sure, you can see the delegates behind me. They are going to say what will happen on the 27th. And I know, inshallah, and by His grace, victory is assured.
But the former MP for the area, Collins Amankwa, says his quest to return to parliament is a call from the constituents.
Wherever you go, people are craving for my comeback, that I should come and continue with the laudable projects that I was embarking on. Well, I think history is going to repeat itself because as we speak, after the balloting, 3 candidates have been certified by the party. And remember, mind you, we contested in 2016. I won. And surely I'm very confident, having engaged the delegates, my message has gone down well with them. And I can assure you that victory will be mine.
In the Bekwai constituency, Joseph Osei-Wusu is opting out of parliament after 16 years. This has opened the race up for 4 candidates, including retired Commissioner of Police George Alex Mensah and Raphael Lopoko-Desai. For retired COP Alex Mensah, the delegates have received his
going to be elected as the
faith.
next member of parliament for the Bekwai constituency. And so, 27th of January, what's your message to the delegates?
My message to the delegates, I've always been telling them that COP is coming to make sure that the whole Bekwai constituency, we all come together and fight and make sure that our party breaks to it. I'm going to make sure that the Bekwai will continue to develop. I'm going to continue the good work that Honorable Jose also have been doing. I'm going to make sure that our young ones who are going to school, those who are learning handiworks, are going to be motivated to make sure that we find jobs for our youth who are coming up.
Ralph Pokuoduse also has his eyes on the Bekwai seat. For his camp, the optimistic of victory.
We've met the delegates, that is the polling station executives. We've sold to them our views, our visions, our plans for them. And from their response, it speaks to us that they've bought into what we've told them. They appreciate the little that lawyer Ralph has been able to do for them, and they are anticipating that should he become the MP, he will do more for them. So yes, they've bought into his vision and his plans for the delegates.
Adansia Sokwa constituency has 3 aspirants seeking to unseat incumbent MP KT Hammond, who has been in parliament for 24 years.
Gotta ask them if they know the constituency. Gotta ask them what is it that they know about the constituency.
Lead campaigner for the camp of KT Hammond, Andrew Edubuahin, says their team is optimistic of victory.
We are not looking for the win. The win is guaranteed. The constituency executives and delegates know what is best for Adansia Sokwa. So the win is not an issue. What we are trying to do now is to give a percentage of votes whereby those media guys who are saying they're still for opposition will get to know that Adansia Sokwa isn't a place you can just go in and give any report anyhow. So we are only working on margins, not the win. The win we know it's guarantees based on the assurances that we have from the delegates and based on the work that our member of parliament has done over the years.
Deputy Managing Director at the Ghana Publishing Company, Sami Ben Fotakwa, is contesting KT Hammond for the second time. For him, the time for change is now.
Yes, he's a giant, but then he's not that he's unbeatable. 2020, he was saved, just 58 votes. And I'll keep on repeating it. That he himself said it, that by his own strength, at a point he even wanted to give up. But some friends came around and said, no, we're going to support you. We're going to be with you. We're going to be with you throughout. And Kennedy Japan and them came around, offered a hand to him, help him out, and that's what happened. This time round, we're going to go again. He had a message then, 2020, that, they should give him last chance. He was not going to go again, just last chance. The people listened to him. And they voted for him. Today, as I talk to you now, what will be his message? Yes, none. There is nothing that somebody can not use 24 years to do that he can use 4 years to do.
For Joe News, Nana Bochitankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
Are you ready to wave your flag?
For us to do showbiz, and Jacqueline and Sumaya Boa is here. Hi.
Hi, Kojo.
Let's do showbiz now.
Yeah. Now, seasoned musicians of the past face an uphill battle as they strive to reignite their careers. Despite rebranding and free performances, many find it challenging to capture the spotlight in today's ever-changing music scene. Now, the Ghanaian music industry has witnessed significant growth with renowned musicians consistently delivering hit tracks. Some musicians, however, now find themselves facing challenges in creating hits. Well, we have many more of these musicians who are struggling to produce chart-topping hits. Now, Kojo, Standaton, I hope you remember. Yeah. Patrick Amenuvo, 14.
How many hours did he do? Two.
Some are even saying less. But well, he is out again. Now, in a bid for an extraordinary feat, Ghanaian content creator Patrick Amenuvo embarked on a daring challenge to break the Guinness World Record for the longest standing marathon by an individual. However, the challenge took an unexpected turn as Patrick, just 2 hours into the anticipated 8-day marathon, chose to abandon the attempt. Many wondered what the reason could be. Patrick has been speaking on Joy Prime.
On January 14, 2024, Patrick Amenuvo, a Ghanaian content creator, took on the challenge of breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest standing marathon by an individual. The anticipated duration was set at 8 days, but to everyone's surprise, he called it quits after only 2 hours. During an interview on Joy Primes on a more serious note, Patrick disclosed that his attempt was not officially approved by Guinness World Records, a crucial detail that led to the abrupt end of the challenge.
Yeah. So wait, this whole thing was hype.
No,
it was
please.
just for hype.
No, please. That's why I said we are coming back again. Just to let you know that
you mean business?
We are capable.
Hey,
I know you carpet too.
I make as a carpet
Have now be Aladdin
So it was not a hype.
Oh no.
It was not a plan to get attention from Ghanaians in any way.
Because on social media, I have my followers already. Because of my content creating. So it's not because
But there's no bad thing adding more to what you have, right?
Oh no.
What were the rules for the standathon?
The standathon.
What are the rules GWR gave you?
No, it's not official. It's not official.
So they didn't even give you rules.
They didn't give you.
And took it upon yourself that you had broken rules. So you do again.
Yeah.
Oh my day.
He was using excuse to.
Oh, not excuse.
Patrick emphasized that his motivation was not solely driven by the desire for a record, but to make a point. He further revealed that his team encountered challenges in securing support for his attempt.
The date, date in soon, we don't have that fund.
So you pulled
So you didn't get anybody calling you, we want to support what you're doing and all that. You didn't, just like the FUA got. You didn't get any of that.
Did you send proposals out there?
Did
you send proposals out there for people to support
like the brands, write letters to them that you need?
Yeah, this is what you want to.
Word of mouth to the MFAO.
Because I don't think you work. Did you have any media partner? Was there any TV station supporting your attempt? No.
No, because the time was due. So if you go,
so that's how he's saying that the flyer had already come out. So I said,
you agree that you didn't do
proper planning,
groundworks before attempting it. You agree that?
This unconventional feat aimed to surpass the current record held by Akshintola Seshu Babu from India, who maintained Mahatma Gandhi's position for 25 hours in 2001 and 35 hours in 2002.
Well, it's just like a gender war, women against men, and the women are winning though.
All right, let's see how it goes. Well, the women are saying men cannot do it, but let's show them that we can. On this note, there's more news on myjoyonline.com. Thanks for being a part of us. Up next is Emma Davis with Prime Business.